Becoming an orthodontist is a dream for many people, but sometimes it could be a dream that's deferred because there's some really hard things about this process, right? So, Doc, share with us a little bit about what you thought were some of the hardest, well, actually the hardest thing for you in applying to ortho and this whole entire process.
Yeah, there's a lot of hard things. I think really for me, um, overall, it's just how fast it comes. You don't really know when you need to be prepared for things, when you need to start getting things going, and so it starts to come together for sure. But it's a quick turnaround going into that last year, and everything happens really fast for you. And you're taking licensure, you're finishing up your patients, you're worried about requirements. Now you're worried about interviews, you're worried about applying, you're worried about money. So everything kind of condensed in that one time period. So that was for sure the hardest thing, just trying to stay on top of all the floating pieces.
Are you considering a career as an orthodontist? Are you considering applying, but you're not sure how to go about the application or what to expect in the interview, or even just if you think you're a good candidate? Stay tuned as we talk to a first year ortho resident who has all of those answers because he went through all of those things en route to becoming a board certified orthodontist in training. Yes, in training. So stay tuned. Hey, this is Dr. Darwin, the new dentist coach, your new dentist coach, with another episode of Ask Dr. Darwin on the New Dentist Podcast Show, where we talk about getting into dental school, getting into residency, and then life as a new dentist. Guys, be sure that you are continuing to support the channel, share, like, comment, and also you can support the channel through Cash App too, because we spend a lot of time and money getting these videos edited and distributed for you, information for you to help you on your journey. All right. Also, this episode of Ask Dr. Darwin is being brought to you by Get Into Dental Residency Challenge. That's right, a challenge. We challenge you to get your application together quickly, especially with the upcoming cycle. You want to get your application done quickly, but also the right way so that you can launch your career and get the attention that you need to get an interview and then also get selected for residency. For more details, check out the link. I think it's here. Maybe it's up there. Check out that link, and we look forward to seeing you in the challenge soon. Today, we got a new guest on the podcast, on the Advanced podcast, but he's not new to the things that we talk about. Today, we're joined with DrRay J, Ray J Jackson, who is going to help us understand and get more insight as to things that you need to consider when you are pursuing a position in ortho residency. Doc, how you doing today? You good?
I'm good. Trying my
Good.
best.
You coming in from the West Coast. We're not going to tell you where, well, we're not going to tell everybody where you're coming in from. We'll save that for later. So you guys got to stay all the way through to the end. So not only that you get to find out what program he's at currently, but also and some details about that program, which you may not have known, but also some tips and advice. So we have that, but you got to stay all the way through. So, Doc, please introduce yourself for folks that are meeting you for the first time.
Cool. Name's Dr. Ray J. Jackson. I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas, born and raised. Spent all my 17 years there. Then I went off to Brown University, where I got my degree in literary arts, actually studying performance arts and poetry mainly, and was doing pre-dental requirements. I applied straight through, and went to University of Michigan School of Dentistry in Ann Arbor for my pre-doc and my dental degree. And then I applied also straight into ortho residency. So excited to be here.
Little Rock.
Little Rock.
Little Rock.
Don't know about the down south.
Yeah, Little Rock. Actually, I don't think it's in Little Rock, but there's a new dental school coming.
It's in Little Rock. They
It
just
isn't
started.
look.
First
There we
class.
go. There
Yeah.
we go. After all these years, right?
Yeah, it's
The
about time. Long
yeah,
overdue.
it's definitely about time because I know from when I remember, I have a classmate from Little Rock, and she went to Maryland with me. She's an orthodontist, as a matter of fact, and I know she was one of those students that the state was paying to go to other schools because the school did not have. I mean, the state did not have a dental school. So small world, man, small world. And that where um President Clinton is from too, right?
He's from Hope. He's from
Hope.
Hope,
Okay.
yeah, a couple hours out west from us. But yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned Michigan Dental School, but we want to hear also like why dentistry? Like you went to Brown, you say communications,
Literary arts, performance,
literary
and
arts.
yeah, performance and poetry. Yeah.
Okay. So sounds like there was a little switch that happened. So why and how dentistry?
Some could say. I would say this. So my oldest sister is a pediatric dentist. She was the first doctor in the whole family, immediate and extended, and she definitely paved a good way for us. And I have two older siblings, and I'm the youngest out of all of us, and two older sisters. Both of them are dentists. And so one's an orthodontic residency as well. The other one's pediatric dentist out in Texas. And so I think when my oldest found it, I think she found it through in like a summer internship and was realizing it was something that you can do. I think growing up, you kind of just pick jobs that you see yourself in. And I think I saw a lot of pastors that looked like me, and so I think growing up I wanted to be a pastor, right? And I kind of pushed past that, but my oldest found dentistry, and it was one of those like light bulb things that went off. At least for my parents, I was a little younger at the time, and there was like, yeah, this is a great field. She's doing it. We can do this. We can get through it. And both of them graduated from Meharry Medical College as well. And so, seeing them go through it, it was in the back of my mind. And it's nice to say, like, you see people who look like you, who come from similar backgrounds, like you do something, you kind of get in your head, like, okay, I can't do this. But I'm also the little brother, and I was like, I don't really want to do dentistry if both my sisters are doing it, right? So I didn't really lean into it. My mom and my dad were definitely a big proponent for science, just like trying to push us into that medical field aspect of things. And I went to Brown Biology Pre-Med, took about 3 weeks, and I was literary arts pretty fast. That was a pretty shift switch for me, and that was like a really big passion. But I kept doing my pre-dental requirements mainly because, my mom and my sister, my dad, they were all kind of encouraging me to kind of like stay on that path, and that you didn't have to major in a science if you didn't want to. You can still follow this. You can, and just the flexibility of a dentist lifestyle, you can still pour into the arts where you need to and still kind of stay on this track. And so they kind of were helping me see a duality of the life that I could probably bring together. And so I stuck with it. And my application year was during the COVID season, so I really got to just hunker down and study and work on the application and kind of lock in that time. But definitely probably more art courses than there were science courses coming up through my undergrad time.
Hey everyone, it's Dr. Darwin. Just want to take a quick break from this episode and hope that you are enjoying it. First thing I want to ask is, did you know that a large majority of the individuals like you who watch these episodes are not subscribed to the channel, to the YouTube channel? Nevertheless, we want to say thank you for watching and continuing to share these videos and episodes with others. Next, I want to say is subscribe. Yes, please hit the subscribe button so that you get these notifications each time these episodes are released. Last is I wanted to connect with those of you who are seeking to become an advanced dentist and specialist. And I invite you to our next event called the Get Into Dental Residency Challenge. This is a special 4-day event that will give you direct access to the mistakes that you want to avoid when you're applying to residency programs, and also the 8 steps that you also want to avoid so that you do not have an unsuccessful application submission. The information that we will be covering over those 4 days will be some of the tips and strategies that I teach in my one-on-one and group coaching trainings with clients who are continually and successfully being matched into and selected into high profile residency programs here in North America. So, if you're pursuing or aspiring to get into dental residency this application cycle, this challenge is for you. Check out the link below to receive more details and join the challenge. And also, I would encourage you to enroll in the challenge via the VIP experience. The VIP experience gives you actually access to a 1 hour Q&A session every day of the challenge before we actually get started with the challenge. And it guarantees me to answer your specific questions that you and other VIP experience members have on a daily basis. So I'll see you in the Get Into Dental Residency Challenge, and let's get back to this episode.
Uh,
Oh, I hear you on that. I was an architect major, so a whole lot of art courses or uh, engineering like courses as well. So interesting journey. So you got a family of dentists, at least a family of siblings that are dentists.
yeah, so I feel grateful for that. I think that's one of the luckiest things about it. Like I had siblings to kind of pull back on and lean on, and um, I'm lucky. My oldest sister was was probably going through a little bit more blind, and so I'm happy for the steps that she took, and then the steps that my middle sister definitely took after. But they showed me it was a profession that really worked with people. All the art that I do, I did it because I love the community. I love pouring into people, and you get to do that every day with your patients here, and you really have some hands-on action. You're seeing people, you're talking to people. In ortho, you get to talk to like to a little bit more younger kids, and I
Yeah.
really mentoring the youth is really big for me, and a lot of the community service I still do is revolved around kind of like a teenage age range, just trying to make sure that they like feel confident about these next steps in life and becoming like good citizens moving forward, good adults moving forward, and feel comfortable growing into adulthood. So
So I'm wondering if that kind of focus for you led you into ortho. So why ortho instead of pedo like one of your sisters, right? And I know you have another sister that's in ortho residency too, right?
yeah, so
Okay.
they one did pedo, one did ortho, and they told me to do oral surgery. So they said we can keep it all in house, and I said, well, one of you can
Right.
do oral surgery, and I would have
Yeah,
been
yeah.
so,
Let you do that.
you know,
Tell yourself to do it. I don't want to do it. You do it.
you know, I said hats off to those who do, but
Yeah,
yeah.
ortho. So why ortho, man? After all of that. Well, yeah, after all of that.
Yeah, it was a bigger decision. I actually went into dental school thinking that I was gonna do pediatrics, and
Mhm.
I was gonna apply for the health core scholarship, great scholarship opportunity. A lot of people, both in my class and the class under had, were scholars for that, and I kind of it limits you to certain specialties for a little bit while you do your time, while you do your service afterwards. But and pediatrics was one of them that you could do with it, and I was really highly considering it, and I didn't apply for it. I think it was just a long 4 year commitment. I was lucky enough to get a scholarship to my pre-doctoral program for at least the first year, so I kind of took some time to think about it. And in our honestly, in our second year, beginning of our second year, we took a really good orthodontic course. I think the school that I chose for my pre-doc, Michigan, it really opened us up to a lot of like honestly all the specialties, but we got a lot of kind of ortho exposure kind of starting a little bit early, and I loved the way they were thinking. Like you really like ortho is a profession that you are thinking through treatment plans. A lot of the work is in the front end. You're using kind of all the things that you know, all the gadgets, all the knowledge that you have that you learned from dental school through residency through true practice, and you're putting it to work and you're building a treatment plan and you're getting things started. And I really enjoyed that. Youth was really big, like important to me. I just wanted to make sure that I was still somehow like staying within a community. And you can do that through community service too, but I think definitely with the age range that orthodontics see, because like you still could see some adults, still get some younger kids, but for the most part, your age range usually between like 8 to 9 to maybe like late teens and like early 20s. You're kind of seeing that, and you're able to stay with them for a long time. You see them about once a month. Average ortho time is what 2.5 years for the most part, and so you're seeing it once a month. You get to see their growth. You get to see them feel more confident. You get to like hear about what's happening with school. You get to kind of connect with them a little bit more, and that's why I came into the profession altogether, is to kind of build those connections and build that community and be in that community. And so that was big for me. And yeah, I think ortho was the first course that I took where it just really clicked for me and it excited me to kind of like be there and learn it and kind of like pour into it. And it reminded me a lot of kind of writing and like staying with a book or a piece for a long time and like refining it and getting to a point that was presentable and happy for both like an audience and myself. And so that duality really helped me.
Yeah, and for many of us, that's all it takes, right? It's one course or
Yeah.
one faculty member mentioning or explaining something to you that you're like, "Oh, wow, I didn't realize that." And that happened, that aha moment sounds like it was that course during second year. So after that second year, did you do any other exploration between that time and before you started your application?
Yeah, I think I kind of so you have to take the GRE for some schools for orthodontics. So I kind of pulled the trigger on that and I took it um pretty like within my second year just because it lasts for 5 years and I had a lighter I think schedule than when I would have started my patients in my third year to take it. So I took it pretty early. Even if I didn't want to do it, I just wanted to get it out the way. So I did that. I started shadowing. I think within that next summer, I started shadowing at an office of one of the affiliate faculty in the ortho department there, and that was really really helpful for me just to kind of see the day to day. And she was helpful throughout my entire process. But for the most part, I just kept on. Like I kind of leaned into it where I could. But I just kept on doing the things in school that mattered to me, tried to stay on top of my grades where I could, was involved in things that I cared about. So when it came time to the application, I was able to talk about a lot of things that I really loved doing. And so it was really a lot of the same, but a lot of the same with a goal in mind at some point. And I explored some other specialties. I was really into endo for a little bit. And then I was shadowing endo clinic, and it just didn't feel the same for me. And that was kind of the click there. But that didn't happen until kind of going into the summer of my third year. So going into my third year. So yeah, that next year I was still open, but after the kind of the endo shadowing, I was kind of set.
You were set. You were like, we ain't this small canal and this accessory canal that y'all keep talking about. I can't see. I can't see. I can't feel it.
Right.
Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
It's like I like the yap. I'm a talker, and like the patient had to rubber dam the whole time. They're not talking to you. Come in, out, follow. I was just, and people love it, and I love that they love it. It's a great profession. It was completely opposite from ortho in terms of your patient interaction, and so I kind of
Right.
knew then. I was like, okay, I see what's for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were talking about your application, some of the things that you did as early as second year, which was that GRE. You also mentioned shadowing with ortho faculty, keeping up your grades, and still being very purposeful and intentional in some of the organizations that you were involved in, all of which are part of preparing for your application. What other things would you say that helped you in this preparation of getting, developing a strong application, get ready for submission and selection? What else did you do?
Honestly, talking to people who were in the position I was trying to get to. So that meant talking to some of the Michigan residents because they were right there. Talking to both, like, I mean, I had my sister, which was great, but even talking, I had her connect me with some people at different schools just to see. So just like really filling in those connections that there's people literally in the places that you're applying to be who are so willing to help. Like right now in my position, I would be so excited if someone reached out, and tried to and just wanted help with whatever part of the application. So that was big for me and just seeing what they were doing. And I wasn't trying to like copy them, but just trying to see like am I on the right track? Like am I like when do I need to start prepping for it? I started thinking about my personal statement maybe goodness me. Probably like halfway through my yeah, winter break of my third year, I started thinking about like what can my personal statement be. At least jotting some things down, so trying to start to write early, keeping a good CV. So you don't really have to go and like search and find all the things you did. So just keeping track of everything you're doing, even the small things that you might not consider, but those all things that matter to you. Um, overall, just also making sure that I was enjoying my time, like enjoying what I was doing. Like I didn't get so goal oriented where I lost where I was in that moment. And I think that really helped me love the things I was doing. It made it easier when I had to write about the things I was doing on my application. It made it so much easier to write about all the things I was doing because I wanted to be doing those things. I was involved in those things happily. And I hope that that like showed through in my application. I think it did.
Absolutely, because look where you're at. First year. First year. And it sounds like it was very organic, yet very intentional,
Yeah.
right? Organically intentional or intentionally organic, or maybe one of the two. And you said some key things, man. Talking to other people, not only family members, but also residents. And you were at a school that luckily had an ortho program, right? Not all schools have it. And you spoke to some resident. Did you speak to Isaiah Sampson?
I know Dr. Izzy. Yeah, so we were
Dr.
actually pretty
Izzy?
close when they first started too, and then I knew there was at the time Dr. Chitty and then Dr. Ken Carter. They were all up there in the
Yep.
ortho clinic, so they were all like instrumental to not just me, but a lot of other classmates as well who wanted to go into the field. Definitely helpful people.
Yeah, and for those of you listening, watching, if you don't take home anything else today, which I doubt that you won't take home more, but you got to reach out. You got to reach out to people. Talk to the folks that are in the positions that you want to get to. And if you don't know anybody, even more reason why you need to connect and do some other things that we'll talk about. And I'm sure Dr. Ray J will share as much, but the power of connections, cannot stress that enough. The power of connections and networking. And also networking with Dr. Ray J, because he said, "Hey, reach out to me." Right. So we're definitely after this discussion, you'll definitely have some people reaching out to you, which is part of the process to get you guys help as you are navigating this process, which is not for the faint of heart at all. So you got your application together and getting ready to submit to a DIA pass, which is coming up, depending on when you are watching this or listening to this, but it's coming up. It comes up around the same time every year, May, first or second week of May. And part of that is there's two parts of it, right? You get your application together, but you get your application together so that you can send it to programs. So share a little bit about how you went through this process of exploring programs and finding the best programs for you.
Yeah. Outside of just word of mouth, I think you really have to lay down what your ideals are and what makes sense for you. At that point, I think youngest people graduating dental school, average age probably like 25, 24, and like then it just gets older from there. So we're all in different stages of our lives. So for me, um, I don't really have a lot of consequences for picking up and moving wherever across this country. Because like I don't have like a lot of ties. I don't have a kid that's in school or anything like where I was specifically. So I was really open to going almost anywhere in the country, and I kind of went everywhere in the country so far, just in terms of like where I grew up, and then when I went to undergrad, and then when I went to my pre-doc. So I applied kind of all over. And I, for the most part, knew I kind of wanted my master's, and to there's master's programs versus hospital programs. I applied to both. I think all of them are great. With getting a master's, typically it helps you in terms of returning back to academia in some form. And so it's just something I wanted to make sure I got. If I could just get it in this one time and not have to get it later, that'd be great for me. Um, that was a big thing. And in terms of everything else, I think program length, I think cost was a big thing. And if I knew residents who like didn't have like the best experiences or they did have the best experiences, I factored that in. But for the most part, Adia has a website that has all of the list, like all the list of the active programs, so you can kind of see which ones are paid, which ones are not paid, how like their program costs, their length, how many residents they're taking, and that was probably really helpful. So in terms of prep and application, I kind of made a list of maybe about like 35 schools, right? It was just like of things, just shot them out, like this is what I could apply to, then dug into those 35 more and kind of walked down. I ended up applying. I think I got it down to like 20, maybe 21 schools. and then and like the last ditch efforts maybe added like 3 schools. So I think I ended up being around like 24 schools, which I think the average is about 15 schools people apply to, and there's different reasons for why they make it smaller or not.
Yeah, and I'm glad you shared that number and the way that you've kind of went through that process because we get asked all the time, what is the best number of schools to apply to? Right? And it's like, okay, well, th- that's a loaded question because there's a lot of different variables that go into that, right? And you mentioned some of those, right? Willing to relocate, cost. Do you want to have to get a master's? Do you want a master's or not? Um, are you taking the GRE? Because some programs you don't have to take the GRE, right?
Right.
So that'll affect your number as well. So a lot of different variables go on, and like you said, there's an average of about 15 programs, right?
Right.
Um, but just because you don't have 15, or just because you've got twice as many as 15, doesn't mean it's wrong or it's right. It just means that's the number you got,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
the number that you got. So it's okay. So again, those listening and watching, it's okay. It's okay. And don't be worried about what other people are doing. I know that's a very hard thing to swallow and try to understand, but you can only control what you do.
Correct.
That's it. That's it. And we'll talk more about some tips and advice, but that's one of them to keep in mind. You can only control what you do. This is about your process. It's
Yep.
not about everybody else's process, right? So 35 went down to 21 and then added a couple more that you said, "Hey, I like this." So about 24, 25. So that's great. That's great. And we got a better idea as to why you kind of picked those schools and programs as well, both hospital and school programs, school-based programs, institutions, right?
Mhm.
So after you submit, and oh, one thing you want to keep in mind that I know you didn't mention, but I know it's coming. When you get down to that list of 25 and you think the application is over, oh no. What else happens, Doc?
So,
Tell them.
there's something also that my middle sister bestowed great advice to me is to save, like, obviously apply early, and also put some money aside early as well. I started putting money aside just in case, probably in my second year. So I was like, it was expensive for her. It's gonna be expensive for me. You apply to the program, and you get a nice invitation to do some supplemental applications as well. And so, not every, I want to say not every school does a supplemental, but probably at least 20 of my 24 did for sure. And there's a supplemental fee and a supplemental application, whether they just want more information about you or whether they have actual questions about maybe why this program or something specific about you and your background. So when they say like start early, it's so you get that time to also do the supplementals because your application is not complete until everything's in.
Absolutely. And I think that's a funny reason why uh, ortho, I have heard, is also called the black box of dentistry, right? You may have heard us talk about this in previous episodes. And if you haven't, you need to go check out the episodes up here because there's a whole playlist about orthodontics. But that black box of dentistry, a term that's been used at times to describe ortho because like you can't see in the box. It's a mystery, right? And only those that quote unquote get a special invitation to interview and actually get selected get to really see what is in that mysterious box. But even before that, I say it's a black box of dentistry because of the application, because that money goes right into disappears right into the box, right? First is the idea pass application, and then it's like, oh yeah, thanks for your application. But guess what? We want some more information and we want some more money to put into the box here.
Yeah.
So there it goes. So you'll never see that money again, but you will once you are selected for programs because it'll come back to you probably tenfold in many different ways. So yes, the supplemental applications I wanted to mention and talk about that because more. It's like you're sucking you dry, right? It's more blood, really? So after you now you're finished with the application because you've done the supplemental. They look at everything and then the phone starts ringing, the email box inbox starts to light up. You got messages and you got some invitations. So tell us a little bit about the number of interviews you were able to secure and what those interviews were like because it can be different at the different programs, primarily because the programs are different. Also, because the people in the programs are different. Faculty, the programs have different missions, hospital based, school based, tuition, no tuition. I mean, there's so many variables, but share a little bit about the interviews that you secured and what the interview day was like for you.
Yeah. Um, so out of the 24 applications I put out, I received 4 interviews back, which I think in the midst, like I said, this application process is fast. It's going to come to you. So I think you're going to take some hits. You're going to see applications or invitations go out that you thought you would get and you wouldn't get. You're going to get some interview offers that you kind of like took a risk to shoot at and it surprises you. So you take it on the chin and you just know that you're moving towards a journey that's for you and the people that are giving you these spots saw something in you and that's really exciting. My dad was always say just go where they want you, and so I was just very excited for whoever wanted me in that moment. But ended up getting 4 interviews, and honestly I think in my application I have a kind of a background and involvement in idea, and so dental education was big important to me and something I was talking about, and I think they probably saw that and assumed and knew that I probably wanted my master's. And so all of my programs that I received interviews from were master's programs with kind of like a pretty strong background in history and in ortho academia, but in academia in general. And each one was fairly different. I had one that had like 12 interview rooms. There were multiple mini interviews, and people get stressed out about that, but it was probably, though the longest day was probably the most fun I had, to be fair, just because um, each room's kind of talking about you. They kind of prompt you with things. You're able to have like a discussion. I just love having being able to have more one-on-one time with more people in the department. So that was really exciting. It was a long day when you weren't in the interview rooms, you're with the residents, learning about the program, touring the campus, touring the clinic, being able to ask them anything, played some games that another interview, if you weren't in the interview rooms or about 4 or 5 interview rooms, you were really just with the residents and there was like a full game room. They're just trying to like do their best. You can see how they interact with each other, how you interact with them. And just to kind of have you relax. Interview day can be stressful and you're excited about it and you're nervous about it. And so they all know that because they've all been there too. And so it was kind of like that vibe for the most part. Each one was similar in that the questions felt similar. Some ortho topics, some specific about you, and but for the most part, I went into every day the same. Excited to be there, but also excited to um, go through the interview, knowing that I'm also interviewing them. Like I'm looking for the best fit for me as well. So that was a big deal for me.
Yes, big fit. I mean, being the best fit, which is a big thing for many programs. They want to know who you are and whether or not th- they feel comfortable knowing that you will fit into their program,
Yeah,
right? Because it's not a program of one. It's usually a program of maybe 15 or maybe 20 or bigger, right? So there's a lot of other people that you're going to be calling co-resident and interacting and learning from,
yeah.
which is key. What was the question, or what was a question that you got at one of your 4 interviews that looking back, you were like, oh, daggone it. I wish I had said this. Oh, I wish I had mentioned this also.
Yeah. Um, they tell you just to, if you're gonna put it on your resume, just to know it, to have some form of an answer for it. And I did a pretty good job of knowing most of my stuff through and through, I will say. There was one question about research that I did leaving high school, in a summer before college, and they asked me about it, and I was like, this is what I kind of learned from it, but I didn't have any real words and of like benefit that research really came to me for. Like I was, and it showed, but I came back from it. It was just like, yeah, like I learned honestly what it felt like to move around the lab, but in terms of actual research, it kind of just showed me that I don't want to do that type of research in the future, right? I was very fairly honest about it, but I left that interview room just saying like, you should never be surprised about something you gave them.
Right.
Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's
that was
fair game. It's fair game. If it's on your CV, it's fair game for them to ask, which means that means you better know, or at least have a pivot, which it sounds like you did. You were able to pivot from that and be like, what I learned was I didn't like that research.
yeah. You know,
And because I didn't like it, I don't remember.
so
Only thing I remember is I did not like it. It was on this ABC topic, and that was not where my mind was. It was not what I expected. That's what I learned. It was not what you expect, which is part of research. There will be some things, some findings, some outcomes that it will not be what you expected, right?
exactly.
It'll go against the hypothesis completely.
Right. Right. Um, but for more other questions, you'll get variations of questions about what type of like which part of a sandwich would you be, or if you had to come if you were a movie, what movie like resonates with you and like kind of describes your character, the life lessons that you kind of put forth through your life with and things like that. And so those feel very hard to prepare for. The advice that I got was, you should go into these interviews knowing like who you're trying to present yourself to be, as honest as you can and close to yourself as well, but kind of ready for those type of questions to where they can ask you which kitchen appliance, they can ask you what type of sport you would be, they can ask you what type of movie you would be, and as long as you know like who you're trying to put forward. Like for me, I was trying to make sure that they knew that I was someone like for community. I definitely value connection and I value just making sure everyone's like kind of coming together. So each one of my answers, even if it was on the spot and I didn't know off the top of my head, I knew it was going to be about that. And so I knew what I was going to talk about. It's just a matter of finding the kitchen appliance or the sandwich condiment or sandwich item that fit into that. It can be anything as long as you make it make sense. And so knowing yourself in those, but those can stump you, and I think one of them did. But for the most part, I grounded myself in that, and those were pretty okay.
And I will tell you what Dr. Ray J just shared with you happens every year. That question or those types of questions that you don't expect happen. It happened this past year. In a pedo interview, someone was asked, "What if you could be an animal? Which animal would you be?" Right? And then there was another one related to, something that you may not expect, but now you know what to expect, so you can't say you shouldn't expect it anymore or don't know, which was an instrument. If you could be an instrument or a utensil, I think it was a utensil or instrument, which one would you be and why?
And
Right?
you just gotta be
Like
ready for it.
you gotta be ready.
You
Gotta be
gotta
ready, and
gotta give them something at the end.
you
That's
gotta
what
give
it
them something. Right? You gotta give them something, which it sounds like you were able to do very successfully because you got through the interviews and um, which now meant that you had another job to do, which is start ranking the programs, right? And this is a critical one because every program may not be for everybody or every candidate, and every candidate may not be for every program. So your assessment of the interview day will be key, primarily because of this. And I don't know, Doc, if this happened to you, but sometimes you go into the interview, you have a pre-ranked list or a list, what's your top, one, two, three, four programs, and then you go into the interview, and that rank changes for various reasons, right? Residents maybe weren't as nice as you thought you were going to be. The faculty you didn't like the vibe of the faculty. Things that you can't read on paper and figure out on paper. It only happens in person. So that rank can change. Um, and knowing how to assess those post interview that time after the interview is key because you've got a job to do, right? Those of you listening, you have a job to do. All the programs that are match programs for ortho, and I think most of them are 99, 98% of them are, you've got to rank the programs. You've got a job to do. So one of that part of that process is knowing, you know, assessing how the programs, how the post interview time, how the program does it fit into what you're looking for? Did it uh reinforce or confirm that this is where you want to be, or this program's number one or number two? Don't know. Don't know. So, Doc, share with us a little bit about what was the process for you after you had the interviews? Was it the same, meaning the same things kind of worked out for you as you did before you went into the interviews, or did things kind of change? And what
Yeah.
what became more of a priority for you?
Yeah. Nothing for me stays the same through the interview process. You learn so much, I think, about yourself and the things you want through that interview process, and that shifts, and every school might show you something different. I kept a journal through my interview time, and so each page, it was just like a Google Doc, which had kind of the length, the price, and then my feelings after the social, because every interview has a social, either the day of, the day after, or the day before, um, and my thoughts after the interview, and then my overall thoughts like leaving all together. And so I would just dictate. I was dictating to my phone, just speak about how I was feeling, and I kept through. And at the bottom of that like Google Doc, I kept like a list that was ever changing until it was time to submit. Because the month it's pretty much a month and a half, almost maybe less than 2 months of orthodontic interviews. You're really going from earliest end of September, latest beginning of November. So that October has the biggest chunk, and you're moving. You're going through things again. You're going through your patients. You're going through your licensure. You're traveling here, meeting these many people. You're talking. Things are blurring together. So it's good to kind of write things down about how you're feeling. So that journal was something I would return back to often. But even then, in the end, for me, it just came down to overall feelings that I was getting about kind of community aspects, both within. I think you can love a program, but if you love a program but you hate the city or hate the town it's in, and you're not going to be happy like leaving the program and going home every day, that was beneficial to me too. And so I thought about what like my life outside of school would look like, things, what my life in school, the co-residents, and that I would have like the actual other interviewees as well, because like one of those 40 people, 25 people, however many people are there, about four or five of them, if not more, are going to be your co-residents. So if you weren't vibing even with them, then you know that, right? You know that. So definitely the vibes I was getting from people, and I was lucky enough, I really enjoyed most of all my interviews and the people that were there. But overall, which ones I was having the most fun with, which ones that I felt like I was able to connect with faculty with, where I thought I could truly just kind of be myself, if the faculty felt accessible, reasonable, um, and sometimes it's still pretty neck and neck, and so you kind of just got to choose. The good thing, and there's a video on the Match website as well for it. The good thing about it is that everything does work in your favor in terms of the actual submission of the rank. It's not like, oh, I need to submit them one and they submit me one, and then that's how we match. It's like if they have you in their top five, they have five spots, they have you in their top five anywhere, and let's say you rank them at all, and you might rank them. If you got seven interviews, you rank them seven, but you didn't match your other six. You still match there because you were wanted there as well. So you get preference. It's not like, oh, someone who because they also submit their own rank list. It's not like someone who they ranked maybe lower than you, rank them higher than you did, and so that person matches. It's in favor of the applicant, and so you really don't have to play a lot of mind games of like, what is this program going to do? It's really just like, where did you feel like you vibe the best? What do you really want to do with your future career and your future time in residency? Um, and so taking all of that into account, it was still kind of neck and neck, and it came down to the wire. But I was happy with kind of like where my rank ended up in the end, and it was kind of based in just taking a risk and being community and things like that.
Yeah, and we're going to go to that right now. I just want to highlight one of the things that you said, which is so true. In my years and working with entities like the match and learning more about how it works. Doc is spot on. It favors you, the candidate, but it only favors you as a candidate if you do your job. Right? You do your job, which is the ranking. All right. And for the reasons that you mentioned, uh, the reasons that DrRay J mentioned as far as the things that he was looking at, like community, both local and also the community of people and the vibe and how you felt like you connected with folks, other candidates, but also the current residents, a place where you felt like you can be yourself, right? And if and how the faculty made themselves accessible. All those things may be a little bit different for everybody that's listening and watching, but those are things that are going to help you with the rank so that you can do your job so that the match favors you. All right. So thanks for sharing that. That's key because I think a lot of candidates, many candidates, not gonna say a lot, but many candidates get very hung up on the ranking. Oh, I don't know how to rank words. I don't this matching stuff. Oh, I'm so confused. Well, worry about that at the end. You got a whole lot of other stuff you need to do first that build up and allow you to get to that bridge when it's time to cross it. Worrying about match in the early initial part is not what you need to be worried about or focused on. So thanks for sharing that, Doc. I appreciate it. So you ranked your programs and you have to wait. You have to wait. Usually that rank list is due like the first week in November, and then about 10 days later or two weeks later, usually between the 14th and the 20th or 21st of November, match is released. So share with us not only where you are currently doing ortho, where you match that, but also some more information about this program that you really, really love and you were really excited about when you matched. So, program reveal right now for those of you that have been staying all the way through. We got some good stuff coming up, some information that you probably didn't know that he's going to share. But first, he's going to share where he's been exercising his talents, his ability to get into the black box.
Yeah. Yeah. I was lucky enough to match, which was my number one choice at the University of Washington School of Dentistry out in Seattle, Washington.
Yeah,
Yeah.
congratulations out there on the west side.
Yeah. So I was excited about that. Some of the things I mentioned, and I said there were great interviews elsewhere as well with strong schools with kind of similar backgrounds. But that was one of the things about Washington. It was such a strong school, both just within the dental school, but particularly in their ortho department. They have one of the oldest programs around, the most well-respected programs that's around. The Alumni Association is super involved. A lot of our alumni have written the textbooks that many of us study from, and are chairs at other departments as well. And so it was definitely fascinating, I think, to see just the reach in which the UW Ortho alumni kind of like had within the orthodontic field altogether. I had a great time at the interview with not just the resident, like the upperclassmen, but also the people I was interviewing with. I felt a strong connection to them. So that was great. Seattle's a great city. So far, so good. First year in, but I don't really have a lot of complaints. We started in the summer. Summer's beautiful, a lot of things to do. Really wanted to tap into the art scene when I came back out here, and have been doing that slowly but surely. And so I just was excited about putting my roots in that, while not compromising my dental education whatsoever. This is a very, very well respected program, and I'm in it, and I realize why it's so well respected. And so I'm definitely learning a lot exponentially. And with that, yeah, I think things that have stuck out past that is just what I talked about, the accessibility to faculty. They put forth that we do that, that they would be there for us, but they really are. If I need anything, if there's part-time faculty who come in that I want a treatment plan with, they're open and available on the weekends to talk to me. Any of my bigs, we're kind of split into teams within the dental clinic. I talk to them often about treatment plans. They have helped me out with every single part of the starting process and continue to. And everyone I find to be very brilliant, but very willing and very sociable with you. And so it's been an easy place to kind of bring your own personality with, while also know that you're really working towards something great. And so going to work or going to clinic, it's hard. Like residency is going to be hard. Like you're going to have some long days. And it's just that much more enjoyable when you're with people who you actually like being around. So all of that has been great. Like I said, alumni are everywhere for it. Our program chair has been a program chair for almost 20 years or so, and he has really done a phenomenal job with it. And it just shows in the camaraderie, but also shows in the type of research we're doing, we're putting out, and the type of orthodontists that they're just creating day to day. So I was impressed in an interview. I'm getting more and more and more impressed as I go through the program, and that's been exciting for me, for sure.
Yeah, and that's what you want. You want to be excited, not only because you're spending another 3 years chasing and becoming uh, a leading subject matter expert, but also that's important because it's the time, right? Time that you can't get back, and it's part of the investment as well, right? The time investment, but also the financial investment. Um, I want to learn a little bit more about the program as far as like, is it tuition based or do you get a stipend? How does that work?
It is tuition based. You're part of a university. A majority of the master's based programs are tuition. You'll find a couple that will give you some stipends here and there, but tuition based. So you'll get a master's of science and dentistry degree when you graduate along with your certificate for orthodontics. And so we do take master's courses with some of the other residents, the pediatric residents, the or radiology residents, the perio especially, and kind of in pros as well. So we're definitely collabing with them and in those courses, and you do a thesis. The biggest thing is that you take your master's courses, but you also complete a master's thesis in the end, and so you have research faculty as well helping you kind of navigate through that, and they kind of have their own schedule and kind of like help you get to the point you need to be to make sure you finish on time in that. We are not quite 3 years, we're 2.75, and everyone's like, it's just this, might as well say three. When you get to this many years of school, then 3 months, then 3 months are really important to you. So
Yeah.
2.75, I started in June of 2025, I end in March of 2028. If you're someone who wants to work overseas or maybe in Europe, I think they require a 3-year residency, which this program will allow you to add another quarter onto your time here if you want to complete those 3 years, so you're able to work in Europe or wherever that might require a 3-year residency program. And so things like that, they know and want to be available for it. But we are 2.75 tuition base. You do research along with your clinic time.
Tuition. What's tuition like? What is the current price of tuition, if you can remember?
Top of my head, I think we are somewhere around. I'm gonna round it out. It would be around like 13 a quarter, 4 quarters a year. So 13,000 a quarter. Kind of a lot of my schools were around that range where I think this one, along with maybe living, it was coming out to be around what tuition like 54, 56,000 a year, so like that. So most of my programs were averaging because none of them were stipend based. They were averaging around at like 100 to one. Yeah, about like one of them was 100 for the amount of total, I think, or no, each year, sorry, each year. And then this one is coming out about 54 a year, coming up to be around like maybe like 130, 140 in the end. Obviously, you're taking out, currently, I know there's some other things going on, but I was able to take out loans for it. And so that, increased and built interest, but that's around the price range.
Yeah, and I mentioned that also because of what's going on right now with how the current administration has put some limitations on and some rules on how much money you can take out and what access do you have to some of the loans. And I'm sure UW, just like all the other institutions, are navigating that space right now. Another question about the program, thesis. You mentioned your thesis, and that's part of requirement. Is there a requirement for residents to have to present at like AAO or a different type of conference? Is that part of the requirement for the master's and the thesis?
Um, it's not a requirement. You present in the end at like a senior showcase for like a thesis presentation for your graduation time. They strongly encourage. I know one of our residents, she's at a PCSO right now. I think it's out in Hawaii. So she's presenting there,
What's
and
PCSO? What's that? What's that?
it's the Pacific Coast
Oh,
organization. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I forget the full words right now. My apologies, but kind of each branch of AAO kind of has their own branch. In the Pacific, there's like a Midwestern one. I think that's like the Great Lakes, and then
Yes. Yes, I got you. I got you.
Wisconsin is also yearly, usually in the fall, while AAO, which would be a more national one, will be around May in the springtime, in the April, beginning of May in the springtime. So she's presenting there at AAO. They definitely encourage it if we can get there, and they try to help you get to those points, if you can, because again, research institution, so they have kind of the resources here to kind of help push you there. So I definitely want you to, if you can.
And that's key. Because there are programs that have those types of requirements or things that they encourage and want the residents to do. Also, not only as it relates to scholarly activity, but also as it relates to upholding the reputation of the program, right? Which is cool, which is not a consequence, but maybe just part of the culture of the program as well that you need to know about. Any other things that has really excited you that either you did know or that you just have learned over this last year about the program, as far as strengths or just things that maybe they do that maybe were different from other programs that you looked at?
Something they do that was odd during the interview, that what I learned during the interview is that once you get into the program or once you get your doctorate degree all the same, they really try to emphasize that we are peers with our faculty. So we call our faculty by our first names. So our faculty, our program chair, Greg Wong, I call him Greg most days, and we kind of have that type of relationship. They want us to know that we're colleagues, we're peers, you're always learning in dentistry, so we're always learning together. They're obviously here to guide us through, and they want to make sure that there's like, that type of relationship between us that isn't the barrier of like a power dynamic as well. That we are peers with each other. So that was really, I didn't know I'm a real Southern kid, and so it felt real disrespectful at the time. I remember I told my mom, and I was like, "Yeah, they did this," and she was like, "Don't do that." She was
Right,
like, "No,
right. Don't call. You got to call him Mr. Greg
something." She's like, "Yeah, do something in front of
right,
it."
or Dr. Greg, and because if you don't, you're gonna have to duck real
Yeah,
quick.
you know what I mean?
You don't want them
So
going off of you.
it took
Yeah,
some
well, that's cool.
but it was definitely something you get used to. And it's weird. It's a small thing, I think, but it helps. It does. It helps with a lot of comfort, and honestly, that kind of accessibility aspect that I noted. So that's a little bit different, but it has helped kind of create a, like just a better working environment, I will say.
Yeah, collegiality is key, right? That's one way of demonstrating collegiality. Like we're all together here. Yes, I've got some more experience, but it doesn't mean that it's in a hierarchical type of environment where, you know, um, you only learn from me. I'm going to be learning from you all too, as residents of the program, right? Um, so that's great. What will be great now is this, Doc. You've shared a lot of information from both your first thoughts about ortho and how you discovered the different or explored the different specialties and how you first got introduced to ortho. You're doing your second year, all the way through sharing some real keen insights about the program that you're at right now. And others want to be like you, right? They want to have a successful application and also successful uh, interview, which leads to a successful match and route to become a board certified orthodontist. So, question is this: what tips and advice do you have, knowing what you know now and what you've gone through? What are some tips and advice you have for others that are either in dental school now, second year, maybe first year, or getting ready to get into dental school and they're thinking about orthodontics, or even the D4 that it might be may seem to be a little too late for, but maybe not. What are some tips and advice you have for them?
Oh, wow. Yeah. I would say first, this is a great field. Like I'm so excited with that. So if you're like on the fence about it, if you're worried about it, I wouldn't be. It's great, and I'm very happy to be going through it. I think if you're a little bit earlier and kind of on the fence, again, or if you're a little bit later, just like talking again, I can't emphasize enough networking with people. I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am now, without just like making sure I was having the conversations that I was having, and without generosity of the people that I was able to connect with. So if you can talk to again residents, if you can talk to previous classmates, or I guess the last class that I just matched, if you can reach out to them and say how their experience was, just with the application. If you can start early, I guess this is more for like maybe like D2s, maybe even like in you're going to your D3 year. You can start early on any part of those application, especially and then maybe that last semester of your D3 year, talking like getting your letters of rec, huge. That might hold you up for a little bit. Starting thinking about what you want to talk about, and really just staying on top, building your application, really just like knowing the things you did through dental school, knowing the things that excited you, um, and overall, just like run your race. I like, I mean, I had 4 interviews. I was really lucky. I was really lucky. I had classmates that had less interviews. They also felt really lucky. I had classmates with more interviews. They felt really lucky. And there's people that I applied to 24. There's people that applied to 30. There's people that applied to 8. So you run your race, you do what really makes the most sense for you. You can just start looking at the schools, looking at the programs. If you are a little bit later and you don't know if you want to fully send it, but you might want to apply to like a few schools, just apply to a few schools, if it's something that you really want to do. But it's a great profession to go into, it's a great specialty to go into. I can't emphasize enough, just reach out to people. Talk to people. Don't be worried about disappointment. Like non-match is a thing. People don't match. But there's no shame. You like the worst thing that happens when you don't match is that you get to go be a general dentist, which is like an amazing feat. You know what I mean? You did an amazing thing. So definitely like don't like hide what you're doing if you don't need to. I know people keep it close to their chest. But if you need the help and support, get it for sure.
Yeah, we all need help. We all need support. And thinking that you don't or you shouldn't ask for help um is is ludicrous, as Mike Tyson used to say. It's ludicrous. Don't do it. Like we all don't know everything, right? Um, and it's okay to ask for help. Actually, it's probably the smartest thing that all of us should do as doctors, as dental students, as individuals. And you said some key things. One of the things I wanted to ask a little bit more about was you said building your application. What do you think are some things that you did that were successful, or maybe some things you've heard others do as far as how to do that? Because it's okay to hear the tip, but what does that mean? Like for some that are listening and watching, they may not understand what that means to build your application.
Yeah. Um, as you're putting it together, there's one thing, but I think the building starts kind of immediately, like when you start to get involved in things, both inside the school and outside the school. Everything on my application was not dental school related. I did sustainability work through the Sustainability Institute on my institution. I was involved in my church. I was I still talked about my writing and some like poetry performances I did. So there were things that made me a full person, and so they're looking to see who's there, right? And it's your job to kind of put your best foot on that paper. And so you're really putting anything that you did that feels important and integral to who you are as a person and that you want to show them as an applicant. That's really what that building means. So that can include research. So I did research in my pre-doctoral program as well, which I think was helpful. Any research you did, any presentations you did, any speaking engagements you might have done, conferences you attended, any awards for whatever they may be. Again, involvement in the community, whether that be within the dental school or not. I know some dental schools, my dental school specifically, we did external rotations in rural places throughout Michigan. Put those on there too because that's experience as well. Rotations, shadowing, all these things. There's so many things you can have on those applications because not every applicant is going to be the same. Like I know I'm putting forward an application that no one else has, and you're going to do very similar. So it's really whatever you got. Like don't feel like, oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I don't have this. There's people with much less than me. There's people with much more than me that we all match, or there's people in the same way with my exact things or my exact amount of things maybe who didn't match too. So it's really just you being able to put forth your best self, be able to talk about things that you care about in an application. So if you're involved in that church, talk about it. You have a little blurb, say why it's important, say why it's there, say why it's on there, right? So I was able to really like have a feel point. If I couldn't talk about it in a way that felt important to who I was or like personal for whatever reason, or it just really kind of deviated to who I was trying to build in this application, take it off. Maybe you talk about it in an interview briefly, but it doesn't have to go into the application. So really trying to figure out who you're trying to build yourself to be in this application process. And again, I can't stress it enough, asking for your letters to rec. I think you get about five of them plus one from the dean of the school. And so figuring out which ones you're going to ask. They don't all have to be from orthodontist. I think I had one from an orthodontist. I had one from a prosthodontist. I had one from a periodontist, one from a dean that was also an endodontist, and then I think one from my research mentor, right? Like who's not a dentist at all. So it's just like you figure out what you want and who can speak to different aspects of your personality. I had one that really knew me in research. I had one like the dean, the associate dean, he knew me like more like personally and like kind of my extracurricular. I had another, the prosthodontist, she like kind of mentored me through ADIA stuff and SNDA stuff, and so she knew me on that, but she also saw me in the clinic. And then so it's just you get to pick kind of like how people are going to kind of push you forward. So start asking early, start thinking about that a little bit early, and that really helps build a full person because they're getting paper and you're trying to build a full person for them.
Yeah, they're getting a paper that has a lot of unique things, or at least that's what you want to present. Your uniqueness, who you are as a person. You, right? You, YOU, a word that's very encompassing of two very distinct areas or roles that you have. You have your professional academic role, and then you have your personal, as in who are you as a person on this planet, right? Things that you like to do, things that are part of your own community, your family, things that make you you as it relates to you being unique and different from other people. We want to know that. The committee wants to know that, right? Because at the end of the day, this is what happens. They select candidates that are not only dentists or pre-dental students or current dental students, but if you take that title off, they're selecting people, individuals. So they want to know who you are as an individual and as a person. So all of these tips are really great, man. Uh, Networking and starting early and connecting with people who are potentially going to write very favorably in your on your behalf with letters of recommendation and building your application, and then most importantly, running your own race, right? Staying in your own lane as relates to things that you need to do for yourself and not compare yourself to others, but also be connected to others that can developing help you to develop your application. So, man, these have been some great tips and advice. What's the best way for people to contact you if they have some more questions or just want to talk to you some more, especially since you're open to connections and networking? So, what's the best way?
Honestly, I'm actually really good with email these days, more than I was when I was younger. So, and it's probably my school email because I'm checking that the most. And so that
Hmm.
is RayJ06 at uw.edu. Again, it's RayJ06 uw.edu. Reach out, and then if there's a better way for you, if email doesn't work the best, we'll figure it out there. But in terms of that first contact, that works best for me for sure.
Sounds good. I heard a '06 in there somewhere. Is there some meaning to that? Is that the month you were is that the month you were born or the year you were born? That's all right. That's all right. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. But reach out to him, guys. Guys, reach out to him if you have questions. This is why this is important, right? Sharing is caring, but you got to ask, and it's okay to ask for help and some guidance from those that have gone through or are going through what you want to do and what you want to go through as well. So, Doc, we appreciate it. Appreciate the input. And we all will appreciate you if you do this, which is go to the next episode. Go to the next episode right now. Now, all right? And share this. All right? Go, go, go.